What is going on, everyone? Jason, also known as Colonel Cottonbelt here, to give you a short layout update. And we're going to go over what's behind me here in just a few minutes. But just to let you all know, I have been real busy dealing with some house repairs and stuff that has taken a lot of my time. So I appreciate everyone's patience on me not getting a video out since September. By the time you see this, Thanksgiving's already passed you by, unless you're a channel member and you might get to see it before Thanksgiving. So, one of the things to let you know is I did get my website. I got a store on the website now, trainfreakhobbies.com. I've got 3 different estates plus my normal inventory that I have on the website, plus I have became a distributor for 2 more companies now. And so eventually I will be adding micro engineering stuff and Kapler Lumber Company. And because I'm a distributor with both of those companies, eventually I will be making custom turnouts for customers, and they'll be up on the website. So if you are looking for some rolling stock for really good prices, building kits, locomotives, passenger cars, you name it, I probably got it. So go down in the description, make sure you check the website out. There's already been a few people that have purchased items, and I will tell you this: the first person got a prize, the 10th purchase will also get a prize. All right, so go ahead and putting that out there. Also, Christmas time comes, I will be doing a 12 days of Christmas sale. So that is also in the works. So just letting you all know. All right, let's get to the layout update. All right, we're going to start off with the barn that I scratch built and shared with y'all. And so I've done a lot since, and what I'll do is after I get done showing it, I'm gonna put up a little slideshow video so you can see everything that I did do on it. But when we had the ops session that came back in early October, a couple of the NMRA members judged my building, and it did not meet enough points to earn merit for the structures AP. So they gave me a lot of suggestions, so I added a lot of stuff. So one of the first things I added was some type of signage. And I'm like, well, everybody's got Coke, everybody's got Pepsi. I was like, let's do Mountain Dew, because I'm not really a fan of Coke or Pepsi. And then plus, if I look over at this post building, there's already a Pepsi ad on that anyway, so. But I do like Mountain Dew, so I did some research for Mountain Dew for the ad for the time period, and so that is a 50s ad. Now, what I did was I just printed it on just standard printer copier paper. I sanded the back of it down quite a bit, sanded the front of it to mainly get, the jagged edges, a few holes, to make it look like this is worn. And then gluing it on with Mod Podge, I went back with some Mission Models. They make a transparent dust paint, and I just used a paintbrush, but you could airbrush it too, and just kind of applied, a coat on there, not just being even with it, but because the signs, they get dirty, a little here, a little there. One of the other things they suggested was that I added onto the back of the building to basically just create like, another eave or something. So this barn, it's a storage barn. It's not a stables. It's just for storage. And so one of the things that I made sure is that I could take my little John Deere HO scale tractor, and it can roll up inside with no problem. So that's one of the things that I wanted to do on it. So going to the front, one of the suggestions they mentioned is I didn't have handles, I didn't have hinges. So I took 15 thousandths brass wire and made some hinges. I also took the same wire and made this hook. And then of course I took some black sewing thread, and it's kind of hard to tell. I don't know if we're going to be able to get any better lighting, but okay. You can kind of see that there is a coil of rope there, so that way they can lower the hook and lift hay bales. You can see that there is loose hay on the inside. And then of course I got the weather vane and the cow skull for mini prints, and I went ahead and had them painted that one. So that way I just didn't feel like painting it, and they offered to paint it, so I went ahead and paid for it. But I did put the weather vane on with the rooster facing towards the front of the barn. And then the last thing I did was I added all of this trim with scale lumber. So, and I gave it a little bit more weathering on the roof. So I'm calling this barn done. I don't know exactly where it's going to sit over in here. I do have something to go on the inside of it, but I will not do that until the barn gets judged. And then I will have a special surprise. Some of y'all might know what that surprise is. I ask that you keep that quiet in the chat or in the comments. Do not spoil it for those that have not seen it yet. And then that's going to be a very important thing, is if you're not subscribed to the channel, hey, you might want to subscribe, so that way once I get enough merit points and I add the surprise that's going to go inside that loft, that you might want to see what it is. And that also requires you filling in the bell too, so that way you'll be notified when I do come out with the next layout update. So that's where we're at with the barn. Let's run over to Brinkley, where I have done most of the work. We're now in the town of Brinkley. So this is what I've been working on. So we've got the yard here. It is a 4-track interchange. That 5th track acts as a yard lead. And then of course you can see that I've got some Walters buildings back here in the back, and those are acting as temporary industries for the time being. But all of the trackage, all the turnouts have been built, and all the track has been laid. So there you go. So there is a total of 14 different buttons, 17 turnouts, 3 acting as crossovers. So we got the Big Mamba Jamba here. It's got a crossover here. We have a crossover here. The third crossover is actually going to be this Y, and this left-hand turnout will act as a crossover as well. So how does operations over here work? Okay, well, I'm glad you asked. So you got the cotton belt main lines here, all right? And then if we pan around, this diagonal line here is the Rock Island main line. Now that turnout is actually in a fixed position, so it will not throw, and you cannot come straight and run off the end of the layout. Will not happen. And then of course your cotton belt main lines go that way. 3 locals will eventually service this area of the layout. You can see the Rock Island local there waiting on clearance to get into the yard. But Cotton Belt will have a local that comes south from Pine Bluff, and a local that comes from north from Jonesboro, which is where you got the rest of the layout. So we got Weiner over there. There's the barn that we just talked about, Hickory Ridge, and then of course Brinkley. Alright, so the way the 4 tracks are set up. So any of the 3 locals can set cars out to any of the 4 tracks, but only specific locals can pick cars up. So this is, the first track is for the local that is picking cars up to go to Jonesboro. The second track, which is empty right now, is for the southbound local to take cars back to Pine Bluff. And then track 3 is for the Rock Island local to take cars back to Little Rock. And if you're wondering where Little Rock is, it's literally just on the other side of this wall. It's a staging track. And then the 4th track is for cars that are going to either any of the industries. Now I kind of explained the industries in the last video, and of course some modifications had to be made, but you've got the M. Farley Shipping Company Limited that takes express boxcars because it has to do with logistics. You got Brinkley Tool and Die that can take and receive a lot of stuff. You got Southern Packaging here. This one I had to cut down. I originally wanted 2 cars to be able to drop grain off, and then 3 cars for pickup. Well, it's going to be 1 to drop off and 3 for pickups. And that's okay. But I ended up getting this little tower thing at the Oklahoma City train show not too long ago. And I only gave $5 for it. So I'm going to do something, and I saw a video from Charles Smiley where he scratch built a little, if I don't derail the cars first, he scratch built a little building here that is to receive the grain that comes from the 40-foot box cars. But grain would have been shipped in 40-foot box cars in my era, as they were starting to come out with covered hoppers. This Ford stamping plant, this is a kit I haven't built yet. It's actually very similar to the Budweiser Brewery building way over there, because that was the Ford tire plant. But the stamping plant is going to be Stuckey syringes, and so we'll get that all figured out later on. So until I have a building there, the box will serve its purpose. Panning on down, we got the Tough Nut Garment Company. So I've got a commissary freight transfer building, and one of the estates that I acquired, I'm actually going to end up buying, or I'm buying this building from him. This commissary building, it's the background buildings for it, and I'm going to kit bash both of those together to make a much bigger building. And there could be the possibility that we might have a lot more trackage for that, where I was thinking maybe we could only have 2 box cars. We might be able to bump it up to 4, you know, have receiving and shipping. And then I'm gonna have to figure something out for tank, for the tank car that's sitting over there for you know, dyes and whatnot. And then one of the other items I got at the train show was this Team Track scene. I've never seen one of those, but I'm like, well, where the Black Rock Central gondola and this Lindy Industrial Gases boxcar is currently sitting at, that's the Team Track. So I'm gonna see what I can do about getting that scene put together as well. So that's kind of where we're at with Brinkley. So who is switching these industries out? Well, it will be the Rock Island. So the Rock Island, I wanted to make sure that they would do a little bit more than just coming in, dropping off a cut of cars, or dropping off cars and sorting them out and then picking up a cut and leaving. I wanted them to have a little bit of switching work. They could be in this situation where they're coming in with 2 locomotives, or they might just come in with 1. So it's going to be up to the operator if he wants to try to use 2 locomotives in the switching operation with the buildings, or if he wants to disconnect one of the locomotives and just use 1 for switching and then connect back to the other locomotive to pull the other cut of cars out. That is totally up to the operator. The different tracks, we've got our runaround track here, which will eventually be a scale track. Right now it's just kind of holding loose parts, including some tortoise pieces, because I still got a few tortoises to install in here. The double slip, definitely got some issues with it, and let me tell you, y'all, these are I'd say these are the hardest things to build, is these slip switches. But I'm gonna have to do some tweaking on it, and hopefully I can get it fixed to where it will do as I want it to do. But the only turnouts that I haven't got tortoises on yet is this crossover and then the curved turnout up there, and that is a number 10 curved turnout, 28-inch radius on the outside, 24 on the inside. So, but everything else, of course, like I said, this one doesn't work at all, but all of the other switches on the layout, they have tortoises installed, and the cars roll through them just so nice. Future projects for this section of the layout is I got to get all the buttons put in, the LCC equipment. I'm going to have to order some LCC equipment. I don't have enough for everything. So there's that. But once I get all the LCC equipment in, then I can go ahead and get everything programmed. And once this is all programmed and operational, you know, for the next, you know, for when the guys come and do ops again, which we had a lot of fun with that. Not many wanted to run a train. I think they were kind of intimidated by the layout, but it's okay. It's all a learning process for them. But I will say Joe Musgrove did a heck of a job switching out Hickory Ridge for the first time, and so I think what I'm going to do is maybe do some cue cards for the layout for the operators, so that way they can, you know, for the ones that are doing specific jobs, they can easily figure out what is their order of operations that they need to do to make their ops session go a little more smoothly than trying to figure everything out, you know, especially for a new operator. And maybe do some difficulty levels too. So like you know, a green would be easy, a yellow would be intermediate, and a red would be advanced. You know, so, because I will tell you this, that switching that job over there, if you're not the local and you're actually the switching out, that's an advanced job by far. So this one here, until I get everything done and I start playing with it, this could be advanced or this could be an intermediate. I don't really know. So one of those things to figure out. But if you got any suggestions on what I could use to do some tank storage, you know, to unload, you know, tank cars would die, I would greatly appreciate it. That would be very, very helpful. So, alright, well guys, that's all I've got for this layout update. Just not a lot happening. I've got the house remodel project that's going on with the busted sewer lines down in the slab. I'm doing a lot of the demolition myself and the digging outside for them to run new sewer lines. So that's really taking a lot of my time. Plus the website. I mean, let me show you what all I've got. The cuties box, all that's on the website. Everything in that box needs to be put in. Everything in that tote. Everything in that tote needs to be put in. This tote here, half of the items are in the site. But then you've got this tote here is completely full, needs to be on the site. The stack of books and the little blue box behind it, it's got to go on the website. But the box on top with the Walters kit, it's all there. And then everything in these two totes need to be added to the website as well. Along with, this is the tote I've been working on. All of this is on the website. And I'm working on getting this stuff in the website now. So, like I said, I've got a 12 Days of Christmas special coming up. You know, that's going to be offering some really nice discounts. And so, I've got a little bit of everything, y'all. So, other than that, I appreciate your patience. And like I said, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, fill in the bell so that way you'll be notified when I get Brinkley finished or when I do the surprise in the barn. And then, you know, make sure you thumb it up. Support me here. That's the best thing you can do for me. Whether you want to subscribe or not, at least hit the thumbs up. That helps me out. So, other than that, y'all be safe out there. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. If I don't see you before Christmas, have a great Christmas or whatever winter holiday that you celebrate. And a Happy New Year's. So other than that, y'all be safe out there. Happy railroading.